Hello there, Captains. Today we'll talk about the pre-release of OP04, Kingdoms of Intrigue. In case you are new to the game, let's explain what a pre-release is. Pre-release events is your first chance to buy cards from new sets. You will get cards for attending, and have the opportunity to buy OP04 Kingdoms of Intrigue booster boxes before anyone else. Everyone that will attend the event will get a pre-release pack of OP04 and a 3-4000 Luffy. The winner of the event will get the Luffy with an exclusive winner stamp. Your local store can host the pre-release event as constructed or sealed format, and today we will provide a complete guide about sealed. In sealed format, each player opens 6 booster packs from the specified set and build their decks using the cards they open. Unlike standard play, you ignore the color restrictions based on your leader, and you can include cards of any color in your deck. After opening 6 packs, players build a 40-card deck. There are no banned or restricted cards, and you can include as many copies of cards with the same card number as you like. Any cards left over from deck construction are treated as sideboard cards. Besides the color, all other card text restrictions still apply as normal. For example, if you play Kyros without having Rebecca as a leader, the on-play ability doesn't trigger. Speaking about leaders, you can easily forget about playing Vivi or Rebecca, since they can't attack, and it's a huge disadvantage in sealed format. Queen's ability is hard to be fulfilled, since there are only 6 cards in OP04 that cost 8 or more. Crocodile is off the book too, since his Dawn ability works with purple cards, and you are having 5-color decks in sealed. Doflamingo is giving you 2 active Dawn cards at the end of your turn. In constructed, he is very oppressive, utilizing the film mechanic, and while you are pushing the board, you also have Dawn every turn to play events like Spiderweb or Punk Gibson and Union Armado. In sealed format, playing a leader with 4 life is already challenging, and versus Kid getting double swinged for 12,000s per turn. The few events you will probably have in your pool will not save you. Isho's first ability will probably not have much use, but setting active a 5-cost character maybe get you board control if you have a lot of 5 costs in the deck. There are 4 vanilla characters, 5-7000 that are common, and hypothetically, you will open a few if you are thinking to play with him. He can also make active Sabo, Mr. 4 or Pell, so you protect them from being killed from your opponent's attack. Thankfully, since you can bring your own leader from previous sets to use in the event, these 3 are the best options. My first option is Captain Kid for obvious reasons of double swinging at the endgame. The endgame is not that far if your opponent chooses to play a leader with 4 life. The second option is Katakuri. Hitting for 7,000 with 1 Dawn is great, especially if you manage and put a Bij or Sanji in your last life card can be a game changer. Zoro is a usual good choice of getting advantage of power for trades on the board. But while OP04 doesn't have a lot of early good choices like Red Sanji, I am putting him as 3rd choice. In sealed format, you will need to add in the deck as much 2,000 counter cards you've got. The more the better. There are 13 different cards in the set with different rarities, and you will need to use every single one of them. The same rule applies to blockers as well. There are 11 blockers in the set, but I am leaving out the Kung Fu Dugong and Iceberg, since they have a special rule and makes them unplayable. You will add all the copies of the rest 9 cards you find in the deck. As a general rule in sealed, you just need to play cards with slightly more value than your opponent. Synergies are usually off the table because opening 6 random packs can't guarantee you finding all those copies that work together, and in most of the cases, cards that have special rules that need specific other cards to work are off the table. I'll divide the cards in 3 categories by their playability, and all the cards that will not be shown on video, they will be off the deck. Hell is killing characters with 4,000 power or less on attack with 1 Dawn, and makes him one of the best cards in the set. Roronoa Zoro gives minus 2,000 power when played, and we include him in deck as well. Bad Manners Kick Course is a 0 Dawn counter, and we will include it in deck because theoretically we won't have an excess amount of 2,000 counter cards. Sugar is a super nice choice, even though her first ability only works playing Doflamingo as leader. You can use her to rest an active blocker on your lethal turn, or at the worst case scenario, use her for her 1,000 counter. Daddy Masterson is making himself active at the end of your turn, so it's automatically included. Treble's first ability is a removal for 5 cost or less. His second ability only works good with Doflamingo, but keeping 2 Dawn active on your opponent's turn is giving you great advantage pressing the board. We will include him too. Doflamingo is one of the bombs in the set. He keeps rested up to 3 of your opponent's leader and characters until your next turn. Not much to say here. Spiderweb is one of the best counters in the set. You can use it on a blocker while making him again active and block for a second time. The weak do not have the right to choose how they die. This is the first removal green color gets, and it's super powerful. You can rest a character while killing the attacker or vice versa. Its trigger is not even playable. Kaido is one of the bombs too. With 10 Dawn 12,000 body, you put pressure on the board while returning an 8 Dawn cost and a 3 Dawn cost character to the owner's hands. You can also return one of your 3 or less cost characters if you want to repeat their on-play abilities or getting the counters on your hand. King is a great choice, even though his stats are not like Vanilla's, but since he is replacing himself drawing a card when played, he goes in our deck. Gum Gum Red Rock is maybe the best card in the format, and you will need to use all copies of it. It's the only removal that works in every character, sending bottom even the biggest threats like Kaido, Doflamingo, etc. Miss All Sunday ramps your deck by 1 Dawn, and if played on curve, you also draw a card, so she is a super choice, even though her stats are not that good, since her attack is not that high, and she doesn't have counter. Cavendish is another card without counter, but her ability attacking active characters makes her superb choice for the deck. Sabo is the best blocker in game, making all your characters immune to KO effects until your next turn. You can also fix your hand by drawing and discarding 2 cards. He even has 1000 counter. Monkey D. Luffy is automatically included as well. He is not only capable of attacking active characters, but returning 7 cards from your trash to the bottom of your deck, set him as active so he attacks again. Beej is the best 2000 counter in the game. His trigger alone, if found on life, can just win you the game. Yamato is included as well. You will probably kill a character around 4 to 6 mana cost when played. She also heals you if played late when you are in 1 life or less. Red Luffy is included in the deck too. His banish ability is a big threat on the board. Moving to playable cards, we'll start with Sanji. You will only include him in the deck if your leader's choice is Zoro. In all other situations, he is out. Usopp is a good choice, killing a character with 5000 power or less when dies. Happiness Punch could be a playable choice even if your leader will never be active. You can probably use it versus Kid Leader to counter his double attack. Senor Pink will be a playable choice for his stats. Queen will be a playable choice only if you open at least 2 copies of Ice Oni and Playground so you can match a combo. Otherwise, he is off. Jack is a playable choice too, since you can easily use him for his 1000 counter. If played on an early turn, you can just push the board until he dies and gets you the card replaced. Page 1 has the same stats like Vanilla's and he is playable. Dragon Twister Demolition Breath. Counter 4000 with 2 Dawn is great even if you won't find a target of 1 cost character. Its trigger is very powerful, returning a 6 cost character to its owner's hand. Mr. 3 is playable as well. Keeping him active on your opponent's turn, you can just reduce one of his characters by 1000 with 1 Dawn preventing damage. Mr. 5, while his stats are below his Dawn cost. His ability to knock out a 4-cost character make him a good choice if you don't have better cards to use in the deck. Colors Trap is a nice counter giving just 1000 counter, but resting a 4-cost or less character. Nezpalm Cannon will probably be included if you don't get a lot of 2000 counters cards or other defensive spells. Kyros is broken in constructed. However, in sealed we will play him just for his vanilla stats. Gum Gum King Kong Gun is playable only if you get a huge pool of Dressrosa characters. Remember that having 15 cards in your trash is not so easy in sealed format. Trueno Bastardo is a removal for 4-cost character, while if played late with 15 cards in your trash pile, you can kill a 6-cost. It will be included in deck as well. Keeping up with trash pile, Barrier will be inside the deck since it can give up to 4000 power with 1 Dawn. Diable Jambeju's Shot. While the second ability will not likely ever happen, you can use it in your deck for the 6000 counter if you don't find a lot of 2000 counter cards or better spells. Rosinante. You can only use him if you have at least 5 or 6 5-cost characters. Otherwise, he is out. You will also need to include all vanilla characters in deck. Every character with 5 Dawn that has 7000 power, every 6 Dawn 8000, and so on. After those cards, if you still have spots in your deck, you will use some cards as fillers until it is complete. One of those choices is Mr. 2. Even being under in stats, you can keep him alive just spending 1 card to each attack he gets. Chinjiao is a filler card as well if you don't get enough vanillas of 5 cost. He can fix your hand if he knocks out an opponent's character. The same rule applies to Jadrudin as well. Kinnaman's ability is very situational, and we've put him on the filler list. His cost according to stats is big, and he doesn't even have a counter. Charlotte Bavarois can be 6,000 power with just one Don, and you can put him in deck. I should include him in the playable cards, but after all he ended up here. Charlotte Moscato gets banished with one Don that is a great threat, especially if he gets in game with Trigger as a surprise.